In May of 2023, in the city of Busan, South Korea, a single taxi ride in the early hours of the morning led the police to uncover one of the most disturbing murder cases the country had seen in years. It was around 3 to 4 in the morning when a taxi driver, whom we will call Mr. Jung, picked up a female passenger in Kim-jong district. The moment she got into the car, he felt something was off. She looked extremely young, almost like a middle school student. And he couldn't help but wonder why someone her age was out alone at this hour. Still, she asked to be taken near an area near Nakdong River. She had one large suitcase with her. When she opened the trunk to put it inside, Mr. Jung offered her to help, but she immediately refused and told him not to touch it. She insisted on handling it herself, and during the ride, he noticed that she kept checking the time over and over again, which only added to his discomfort. When they arrived at the dark, wooded area by the river, she took the suitcase out of the trunk and asked him to wait. She then walked off into the darkness with the suitcase. And as she was walking away, Mr. Jung noticed something strange. There appeared to be dark stains on the outside of the suitcase. After several minutes, the woman returned, but this time the suitcase was gone. She got back into the taxi and asked to be driven back to her home. And Mr. Jung did as she asked, but the feeling that something wasn't right stayed with him. And after dropping her off, instead of going home, he pulled over a short distance away and checked the back of the taxi. And that's when he noticed a strong, unpleasant odor. The carpet in the trunk was wet, and there were dark, reddish-brown stains soaking into it. At that moment, he knew he couldn't ignore what he had seen. Mr. Jung called 112, South Korea's emergency number, and reported everything to the police. Officers responded immediately and began reviewing CCTV footage from along the route the woman had taken. Within hours, they were able to identify her and obtain the search warrant. Later that same day, police arrived at her residence. To their surprise, she opened the door herself. Her name was Jung Yoo-jung. She was 23 years old. Inside the apartment, officers made a horrifying discovery. They found human body parts, along with a wallet and an ID card belonging to another young woman. Just 3 hours after Mr. Jung's phone call, Yoo-jung was taken to custody. As investigators began to look into her background, a disturbing picture started to form. Yoo-jung had graduated from high school but never went to college. She lived with her grandfather, as her parents had divorced years earlier. Her father had started a new family, leaving her behind. During her school years, Yoo-jung struggled deeply with social isolation. Former classmates later said she always sat alone, ate alone, and never had close friends. She was often mocked and bullied for not having parents, and she kept entirely to herself. After graduating, she tried to find work, but failed repeatedly. She wanted to become a civil servant, but that required strong English skills, a subject she consistently failed. 5 years passed with no job, no progress, no future. When police searched her phone and computer, what they found was chilling. Yoo-jung had been searching for information on how to kill someone, how to stab in a way that would cause death, how to dismember of a body, and how to dispose of remains. She had also been visiting libraries and looking up biology-related books. It became clear that this was not an impulsive act. So what was her plan and how did it happen? In early May of 2023, Yoo-jung signed up for a private tutor matching website. She pretended to be a parent looking for an in-home tutor for her child. She contacted more than 50 female tutors, setting very specific conditions. The lesson had to take place at the tutor's home, and the tutor had to live alone. She claimed this was so her child could focus better. Eventually, she connected with a 26-year-old English tutor named Nadine, who was also a graduate student. Nadine was looking for an extra income and agreed to the arrangement. Before meeting her, Yoo-jung bought a middle school uniform to disguise herself. She was short, young-looking, and wore a mask, making the disguise convincing. When Yoo-jung arrived at Nadine's home, Nadine opened the door, believing she was welcoming a student. The moment Yoo-jung stepped inside and the door closed behind her, she pulled out a knife and launched a brutal attack. She stabbed Nadine repeatedly and without hesitation. The autopsy later revealed that Nadine suffered from more than 111 stab wounds. There were clear defensive injuries on her hands, showing that she fought desperately to survive. Evidence showed that she did not die immediately, and after killing her, Yoo-jung dismembered Nadine's body inside the apartment. She then changed clothes, discarding the blood-soaked school uniform and putting on Nadine's clothes. She left the apartment to buy gloves and bleach, returned, and packed the body parts into a suitcase. And at around 2:15 in the morning, she dragged the suitcase through the street of Busan and flagged out a taxi. And that taxi was driven by Mr. Jung. During the police questioning, Yoo-jung initially denied everything. She claimed she had simply been paid to dispose of a suitcase and didn't know what was inside. When confronted with overwhelming evidence, she changed her story and claimed the murder happened during an argument. Investigators didn't believe her. The knife had been brought with her, and the attack was clearly premeditated. What disturbed investigators the most wasn't just what Yoo-jung did, but how clearly she understood it. During questioning, she showed little emotional reaction. No panic, no confusion, just flat, controlled answers. When asked why Nadine, Yoo-jung didn't talk about anger or revenge. Instead, she talked about curiosity. She said she spent months watching crime documentaries, reading new articles, and studying how killers thought. She wasn't driven by a single argument or a sudden breakdown. This was something that had been forming quietly over time. Experts later pointed to a dangerous combination of factors. Yoo-jung grew up feeling abandoned, rejected, and invisible. She lived in isolation, without close relationships, without emotional support, and without any sense of direction. Over the years, resentment built, not toward one person, but toward the world she felt had excluded her. English became a symbol of her failure. It stood between her and the life she wanted. Nadine, an English tutor with a future Yoo-jung believed she could never have, came to represent everything she hated about herself. When psychologists tested her mental state, the results were alarming. Yoo-jung scaled 28 points of a psychopathy scale. For most people, a score that high is extremely rare. It suggests a lack of empathy, shallow emotions, and an ability to feel guilt ways that others do. Investigators later said if she hadn't been caught that night, there was a real possibility that she would have killed again. 3 days before the murder, Yoo-jung called her father, the only person she ever contacted. He's the only person in her life. She spoke to him about her loneliness, about how empty her life felt. Then she said something chilling. She told him that she was about to do something terrible, and that afterward she planned to leave this world. Whether that was a cry for help or a final warning, no one can say for sure. On June 9, 2023, Yoo-jung appeared in the public for the first time after her arrest. Surrounded by cameras, she showed little emotion. She said she was sorry, but for many, the words felt hollow. On June 21, the court sentenced her to life in prison. Today, Yoo-jung will spend the rest of her life behind bars. But the question this case leaves behind is far more unsettling. How does someone go from being invisible to becoming capable of doing something this violent? Was she born this way? Or did years of isolation, resentment, and obsession slowly turn her into something dangerous? And how many warning signs went unnoticed? This case ended because of the taxi driver that trusted in his instincts. But for Jung Yoo-jung, the descent had already begun long before that night in Busan. And that's the case of Jung Yoo-jung. Don't forget to like and subscribe for me, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye!